Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this Friday for Premiere Pro Short Reels. My name is Caitlin, and I am a public services librarian with Plano Public Library, and I will be presenting today's program. I am assisted by Sahar, who will be monitoring our chat for today's program. Please say hi, Sahar.
Hi.
So before we begin, I do need to let you know about some ground rules that we've set up for today's program. So you will be muted for today's class, and we do have your video blocked. You will only see the instructor's screen for today's class. Now, at the top of your screen, you can find an exit full screen option if you need to go to other things on your computer. You are also welcome to ask questions or request that the instructor repeat information at any time during today's program. You should see an icon at the bottom of your screen that says chat. You can click on that to open the chat window, and chat is set to be seen by library staff only. If you prefer, you may also use the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your screen to ask questions. Please note that any inappropriate questions or comments will cause your immediate removal from today's class. For all questions, we may answer you either directly in the chat or the Q&A box. Hold the question until a break or the end of the class, or ask the question at the time if it is pressing. On our website, we do have additional resources such as databases that supplement today's programs. We will be using the instructor's screen to demonstrate and may share additional resources in the chat as well. A recording of today's program will be available in a few days. So if you would like to watch today's program and then practice with the recording later, that is an option. And if you find that you're missing that link in a few days, it does get posted to the Plano Public Library YouTube channel. So you can find the recording of this class there. Now with the ground rules out of the way, let's get started. We do have a class disclaimer. So the instructors today are not graphic design experts. We are librarians. The purpose of today's program is to provide a general overview of the Premiere Pro software and how it can be used to create short reels for social media. Social media platform hosting requirements change often, and information in this program is accurate as of the time of the recording program session. Now, for more graphic design expertise, we highly recommend using the free resources available to you with a Plano Public Library card or your local library. These include access to LinkedIn Learning and Udemy. You can register online at planolibrary.org for more information. With that out of the way, what are we looking at today for today's class? We will be reviewing information about short reels, including key features, filming basics, and platform hosting requirements. We will also use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit two different versions of a short reel, or I'm sorry, only one version of a short reel, utilizing basic editing tools and provided class exercise files. We will share a link to today's class exercise files that we used in today's program. After editing that demonstration, we will hold some space for questions while providing additional resources and information on upcoming programs. Alrighty, so with all of that done, let's hop into it. Now, what is a reel? So short reels for social media are short, entertaining, easy access videos used for a variety of entertainment formats and purposes. They were first introduced in August 2020 and are generally brief videos that loop with background music or other audio. Now, Reels, as the name, are predominantly found on Instagram, but they are also known as short form videos on other platforms. Short Reels include tools and features like filters, a preset treatment that is used to overlay an effect on a video. It includes text overlays and many other effects that brighten, darken, or unify film components. Reels are used to express creativity, share information to a wider audience, promote products or other business services, and much more. Popular examples of successful reels include the HelloFresh brand. They are cooking reels promoting their easy to use meal prep service. Or Sephora, they post reels that demonstrate before and after uses of their products, and smaller business entities that use reels for time lapse or jump cut effects to share how their products are made. Think anything you find on Etsy. Are there any questions about what a reel is? As a reminder, please do use the chat function for any questions. Alrighty, if there's no questions about what a reel is, we're going to hop into some of those key features I mentioned. So reels, as mentioned previously, typically include some music. Some of the more popular social media applications include thousands of tracks you can use for background songs of short reels. However, you can also find royalty-free Creative Commons use background music on online repository sites. Um, those include sites like Pixabay or SoundCloud or things like that. Special effects. This often includes uh, special filters, adding color effects, or those jump cuts, things like that. They are also including collaboration opportunities. So you may find when you're scrolling through videos on Instagram that you start watching a video only to have it cut to a completely different person, or it turns out that it's more than one person singing a song, for instance, or they're both hyping up a product. Um, so that is what it kind of means with the collaboration opportunities. Some of the benefits do include expansion of reach and increased engagement. It helps build authenticity within a brand, and it also has the ability to stay relevant by applying different trends. So what we mean by trends is whenever you see a popular song getting used or a special time lapse, there's a really popular trend within book talk, for instance, where someone is wearing normal everyday clothes, but then they're reading a book and they fall backwards and then they're in some sort of fantasy garment, for instance. Things like that attract an audience who are engaging with that trend. So all of these together are pieces of what make up a reel and are beneficial to the person creating it. Alrighty. Now, with a reel, you do have to have some filming basics. And this does include having access to some equipment. So in general, you want to have access to a camera. This can be as simple as your iPad, a tablet, or your phone, or a DSLR. Lots of different options out there. And you want to have access to a microphone. This could be built into your phone device. You could have a shotgun mic, a lavalier mic, etc. A lot of different options, but it is recommended to have one so you get really good audio quality if your reel needs audio. Also have access to a tripod or a filming gimbal. These are devices that just help hold your camera or filming device in place so it's not shaky. If you try holding it with your hand, it's not impossible to get a good shot, but you may notice if you film just by holding your phone that you end up having a lot of movement with your video shot. Now, you also, when you're filming, you want to take into consideration filming directions. And predominantly, you have horizontal and vertical view. So this is like if you're holding your phone for filming and you hold it normal up and down vertically, that's the view that you're capturing for your video. Now, if you turn it horizontally, that becomes what is considered a website view because it's that wider screen. Now, I also have listed here video resolution. In general, you want your video quality to be set to H.264 with a recommended 1080p. This is just a pretty standard filming resolution across multiple platforms. That's kind of a baseline. Alrighty. Are there any questions about anything?
I haven't seen any questions yet.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Please do feel free to ask any questions at any time. Alrighty. Now, what platforms can you find short reels? You can find them. You've probably heard of TikTok. You've probably heard of Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. This is the predominant big four where you can find reels. Now, it's not the end all be all. You can find reels on pretty much any blog, website, Reddit forum available now. It's very, very popular way of engaging with multiple types of audiences. Now, TikTok was established in 2016, if you can believe it. It's a lot older than people realize. Um, Instagram started introducing short reels in 2010, but added full video support in 2020. Facebook actually was established in 2004 and it launched video format in 2011. Um, that's part of the Skype acquisition, I believe. And YouTube was established in 2005 and is at this point the probably the best well known in the video format realm. All platforms in general have the same upload recommendations. Recommended video uploads are MP4 and MOV file with a resolution of, again, that 1080p by 1920 for pixels. The length, the maximum length in general for short form videos is 10 minutes. It's actually much shorter though for just the reels. Short reels can be found outside of these platforms as previously mentioned, and that's usually done by embedding those videos in those other platforms not listed here. So that's in general about short reels. That's some background information. We're going to start looking at Adobe Premiere Pro, which is the platform we're using for today's class. So in case you're not aware, Premiere Pro is an industry standard timeline based nonlinear video editing software, and it's used for producing high definition broadcast quality video. Nonlinear editing allows you to perform edits in any order at any time without damaging original footage. Premiere is useful for importing multiple video clips, audio segments, and graphics. A new video file with your edits is created, giving users the ability to export to several types of mediums, formats necessary for digital access. So it is the professional industry standard. And you can get access to this here at Plano Public Library if you don't have access to the software at home. We do provide access in our digital creation spaces located at Parr, Haggard, and Harrington that you can book online um, for up to 6 hours a week. Okay, you do need to have a library card, but this is a free service that you have access to. All right, so for today's project, we do have some editing goals. And this is just something you want to keep in mind while editing a short reel. First, you want to ensure you are crafting engaging and high quality content. Pay attention to current trends on social media and don't be afraid to join in and add your brand's touch. This is a great way to reach a wider audience and also encourage customer engagement. However, choose which trends make sense and feel true to your brand. Don't try to participate in every single trend. For instance, again, I mentioned that book talk trend. If you're not within that realm, like say you're trying to sell a planner, like something that's very different from fiction, that trend's not necessarily going to work best for your brand. If you're curious about more brand development, we do have another class called Building Your Brand. The recording is on our YouTube channel. You can refer to that for any questions about brand development. On social media, Users tend to rapidly scroll through their feeds. So if you don't capture their attention immediately, it is likely your content will be scrolled past. Um, Try and use visually stimulating colors or dynamic motion to quickly draw viewers in without overwhelming the senses. Use catchy music, sound effects, or dialogue to pick um, viewers' curiosity. Remember that sometimes people have their sound off while scrolling. Try using bold text or attention grabbing captions to convey key messages to users who don't have sound. By capturing a viewer's attention within the first few seconds of video, you increase the chance of them stopping to watch, engaging with, and possibly even sharing your content, which will help maximize your reach and customer engagement. All right. So, with that in mind, today, we are going to focus on speeding up clips and adding text, music, and transitions to create short reels that mimic a product demo. We have several video clips of the product being unpackaged and completely put together, totaling about 38 minutes of film. We are going to edit this down to 45 seconds of content that showcases our product. So for this class, we have a puzzle that we are highlighting, and we will be editing this reel with the intention of posting it on Instagram. So we will set up and export our project accordingly. So with that shared, with that all of that information reviewed, we're now going to switch into Premiere Pro. Alrighty, so bear with me for just a second while I hop into that window. Does everyone see Premiere Pro now?
I can see it.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm so glad technology worked. Alrighty. Do we have any questions before I dive into the class content? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. All right, so we're in Premiere. What we're going to do first is start with a new project. So we're going to click that new project button. If you didn't click that, you can always access it from File and this top option, New. So within here, we've got our project name. We're going to go ahead and name this short, if I could type, short reel class. We're going to select the project location. So here, I'm going to use that drop down and choose location. And it's already set to the folder I want it in. We're going to select folder. So all of the Premiere Pro files will be saved here.
We have a question. It's
Mhm.
saying what softwares can be used besides Premiere Pro?
So there's plenty of video editing software out there. The other one that Plano Public Library provides access to is called DaVinci Resolve. So that is a free open source option. And we do have a few classes on that. So definitely put that on your calendar if you're able to. Besides DaVinci, I believe you can use some Mac specific software. I think GarageBand does music. I'm trying to think. iMovie might be another basic one. Um, I think even Canva has some video functionality. So there's definitely plenty of other options out there. If you're not a big fan of Adobe products, but we will be working with Premiere Pro today, so that's a great question to know about the other platforms. Those are the ones that I'm currently aware of. Alrighty,
Perfect. Thank you.
no problem. Thank you. Um, so once we've got that file save location here at the top, we're going to be using the file navigation panel, which is located on the left-hand side of the screen over here. You may see it kind of mimics that file manager that you have on your computer, which is typically that file icon that you click. So within here, we're just going to navigate where we have those files saved. And I actually have this already pulled up, Premiere Pro class, and you can see I've got a few files here. They're all selected. And once they are, um, and if you're pulling these from the class exercise files, then we are looking specifically for this holding puzzle bags, puzzle piece dump, puzzling, and teardown. You can go ahead and import that music boardwalk as well, or you can import it later. It, it's not going to affect how you work on the project. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this import settings panel over here on the right side of the screen. It ensures, what we want to do is ensure that all the sliders are off. So we do have one on, so we're going to turn that off. We will not be covering the various settings available in this panel today. The default settings will work for our class project. We're just focusing on keeping this pretty simple for your first reel creation. But definitely the more familiar you get with Premiere Pro, you can start playing with these settings because there's a few like organization and different tools that you can make use of. But it's not necessary to dive into that when you're new to the software. So with that done, we're going to click this blue button, Create, in the lower right-hand corner. It's going to take a second. And we've got a workspace. Now, for today's class, we're actually not going to work in this default workspace that's available. Instead, we're going to work in the vertical workspace. That makes it easier to edit vertical videos. So let's move from the editing workspace, is the default one, into this workspace. So from the top menu bar, we're actually going to find that window button right here. It's the second to the last one at the top, and we're going to go to workspaces, and we are going to select vertical. And I want to get rid of this learn panel because it's kind of in my way. There we go. That's gone. And we've now got our vertical panel showing, which is really nice. Okay. So now that we've got that selected in the project panel, which is this upper left-hand corner, we want to select the new item button, which is this kind of post-it note looking button here in the lower right of this upper left corner. And we're going to select sequence. So now you should have a pop-up like this one that says new sequence. And we're going to select the social media portrait 9:16, 30 frames per second preset. Alrighty, which is under this social folder. And I just said it, it's 9:16. It's this second one underneath. And once we have that selected, we're going to begin editing. So we can select OK or double click on the file, and that's the setting that's applied. Alrighty. And what we just did is actually size everything here specifically for Instagram. I said at the beginning, that's what we're going to focus on creating for here. So there are other preset options in that list. For instance, if you're focusing on TikTok, you could select a preset for TikTok, whatever platform you're working with. Looks like someone has their hand raised. As a reminder, please do use the chat or Q&A button for any questions. All right. So if there's no questions before we move on, we're going to focus on cuts at the moment. Okay. So first we're going to drag our first clip, which is teardown, onto the timeline. So this clip here from our file manager to the timeline, which is this strip of, it's got the time listed. I hope it's pretty explanatory, but we're just going to click and drag it down below here to our timeline. And this pop-up um, pops up, it warns of a clip mismatch warning. It's asking if you want to change the sequence settings to match your clip. We don't want to. We want to select keep existing settings. And having that always ask is nice because there are times that you do want to unsync um, your clips that you're throwing in. Maybe you're getting rid of the audio. Um, but in general, it's always good to have it ask you. Alrighty, so now in the effect control panel, we are going to change the horizontal position. So what I mean by that is effect controls is this middle panel on the screen. And we're going to select this clip and we're going to see that we have some options appear. So we're going to change some of the display. So we've got we're looking for changing our horizontal position and vertical position on this video. So we're going to change this to 488. I just use the tab key on my keyboard to go to the next one. And we're going to change this to 517. Enter. I may have swapped those. But as you can see, um, we're a lot closer now on this video clip that we loaded in. And we're going to change our scale because I think I still want to be closer. We're going to change that to 211. Alrighty. I'm going to double check that. It's not that much different. I think I like this more. Okay. So now we're going to move our playhead, which is just this initial play button here. We're going to change it to 27. You can change that either by dragging like I just did until we see 27, which you can see time here and here. But you can also click and just say, I want to be on 27 if you're wanting to be super specific. Okay. So at that point, we actually want to go ahead and use our razor tool. So you can find that over here in the left-hand panel, or you can just use the keyboard's shortcut of C, which should, when you move your mouse back onto the timeline, have that razor icon appear. And we're just going to click directly where that playhead is. And once we do that, there's a cut and we're going to change it back to the selection tool because this is like any other Adobe product. If you don't change your tools, you're just going to repeat the action of that tool until again, you switch out of it. So you can click directly on that selection tool or you can use the keyboard shortcut V. And what we're going to do is drag the second half of the cut clip down the timeline. Around 3 minutes is fine. Again, we've got a lot of footage, but we're going to cut it down quite a bit. So once we've done that, we are going to select our first clip. And I just realized I typed 27 into the wrong place. So we're going to undo. This is a great example to show you undo, which is Control Z. And we're going to fix my typing. It's going to be great. All right. We're going to switch that because I was a little too far into my clip. I realized I was like, that looks fine. I was like, not actually, but that's the joy of editing. So you can see now that that's actually a lot closer. Let's zoom in. So again, we're going to repeat that razor tool cut, select that, go back to our selection tool, can zoom out a little bit. So that's what this bar at the bottom is that I'm adjusting. It's zooming in and out on our timeline. You can get really, really close on your frames per second for precise editing. And we're again just going to drag this out till about 3 minutes of our footage. And I'm going to drag this back over. Now selecting that first clip, we are going to actually select and we are going to copy and paste a copy immediately after the original. So Control C and Control V. And there you can see we've got duplicates of, of that clip. So it's the same thing displaying. We're just getting a little bit longer of an image on that initial image there. So this could, another hack for this is if you have a still, just an image that you wanted to hold for a certain amount of time, you could import an image here if need be. All right. Before we do get too much further, we're about to drag another clip into the timeline and we're going to place it after the first two clips. So I do need to zoom out. And we're going to again drag the puzzle piece stump movie down into the timeline. Can be after. After the first two clips. Okay. You may notice as we're editing that we have different orientations of film. So we wanted to show you just how important it is when you're filming to stick to one single orientation. So if you're going to be filming a reel, it might be nice to stick to a vertical orientation of filming versus having it set for a website viewing, horizontal viewing. So when we play or kind of scroll through these, you can see we switched that orientation. So it does create a bit of a disjointed video effect. So we're going to work through that and show you how you can still salvage that footage. But in general, when you're filming, do try and keep that in mind. Okay, so we are going to, we've got this, this section of film selected. We're going to hop back into Effect Controls, and we are going to change the horizontal position of our image here for this puzzle piece dump video to 570. And we're going to change the vertical position to 528. And we're going to change the scale to about 260. And now you can see we've really zoomed in. It fills the entire vertical kind of scene, which is better from that previous black space we were getting. All right. So with that changed, we want to move our playhead on a timeline to about 3 minutes and 11 seconds. So again, you can drag until you get there, or you can just go exactly to that, that moment in your playhead by typing it in. So we're going to, well, so we're going to drag back over and we're just going to go here and type in 3 and 11 and enter. So now we're precisely where we want to be on our timeline. And we're going to use that razor tool again. I'm clicking C on my keyboard, and I'm going to go ahead and place another cut on my timeline. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to ensure that the first half of the puzzle piece dump clip is selected. And we're going to go ahead and Shift plus delete to perform a ripple delete. Something else you can do is also right click on the clip and you can select ripple delete. I think we're a little too zoomed out, so I'm going to zoom in, select that. Oh, still giving me a lot more options. Oh, there it is at the very top, ripple delete. So that's where the option is if you right click. And again, if you just press Shift plus Delete on your keyboard, that is what a ripple delete looks like. And you might see us do that a few more times in this project. Alrighty. So next, what we are going to do is drag in another clip to our timeline. We're going to zoom out real quick, and we're going to drag in the puzzling movie. And this is our longest bit of footage. And it's also an example of us switching that orientation again. So we are going to drag puzzling onto our timeline. And we are going to snap it into place after these first clips here. All right. So this is where it's very important to learn that whole speed up effect. Now, before we do that though, it's a different orientation again. So we switched from that major zoom in to back to a vertical filming position. So this is a bit of a rinse repeat concept when you're working with multiple clips like this. You want to go into the effect controls and again, adjust that position, that horizontal and vertical position of your filming. So we are going to go ahead and change again that horizontal position here to 586. I'm using the tab key to again change this to 1128. And then next we're going to change scale to 125, enter. And so now we're just a little bit further zoomed in. It's still not my ideal frame. Ideally, we would have gotten a bit closer, but you'll see just kind of scrolling through this film that we're putting together a lot of this puzzle with multiple hands, and we wanted to kind of capture that feeling of putting together a puzzle. Something else to keep in mind, if you're just looking at your clips and you're not really concerned with sound, you can also mute this track right here by clicking the M. Okay, so now that we've got this position the way we want to, our film positioned, we're going to again move our playhead on the timeline to about 3 to about 20. So again, I'm just going to click and type it in. It's generally a little easier than dragging, and unless you can't type like me. All right, so that gets us to where we would like to be on our timeline. We're going to go ahead and make another cut here. So I press 6, the C on my keyboard, and now I want to ensure that this first half of the puzzling clip is selected, and we are going to again do a ripple delete. We are going to shift plus delete. And we're going to move our playhead to 36:04:19, because remember, this is a bit of a longer clip. So 36:04:19. So a bit further down now. And we are going to again make a cut because we're kind of trimming this down a bit. Alrighty. And now with that selection tool selected, we are going to adjust the speed and duration. All right. What I'm doing first is I'm just zooming out on this because I want to see more of my timeline. So what we're going to do to access speed and duration is we're going to right click on this first half and we're going to access speed and duration on this menu. It should be below label, should be before scene edit detection. All right, this menu pops up and this is going to seem a bit extreme, but when you have a lot of footage for something like this, you're showcasing an action of how to create a product, for instance. you have to remember the output of social media is short form video. So you want to get this as short as you can. So we're going to input 9,000%. And this should change the clip down to 23 seconds or around that time. So you can see here below, that's what this chain does right here. It automatically adjusts the duration. Um, so it's generally recommended just to keep that linked. That's what we want. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And now you can see that's changed it quite a bit. Now I'm zoomed out a bit too much. So I'm going to toggle here, zoom that in. I'm going to drag this all the way back over to the left so I can view our timeline a little bit easier. Okay. So now with that piece done, we are going to right click on the space on the timeline after our shortened puzzling clip, and we're going to select Ripple Delete to remove the space that was created when the clip was sped up. So we're actually going to scroll back over, and over here, we're going to right click, Ripple Delete, and that brings back the other portion of our filming, which is kind of nice. And we're going to move our playhead now to 38, 15, and enter to put us where we want to be on our project. And again, we're going to select the razor tool to make another cut. And we're going to switch back to our selection tool. And what we're going to do is also, we're just going to select the first half of this puzzling clip. So we've got a few different versions, but of our puzzling clip, what we're going to do is actually um, we're going to delete this because it's still a bit too long. So we're going to right click and do another ripple delete. Okay. Now we're going to move our playhead to about 45:21. Oh, I think I cut the wrong piece. So Control Z, Control Z. Okay. I think I was actually meant to cut different piece. Okay. When in doubt, go through your project, make sure it's playing what you would like it to. Okay. So this is part of when you're working on video editing, it's very easy to get caught up in doing certain steps. When in doubt, always go through and just watch a portion of your clip and make sure it's actually part of what you want. So I believe what happened is I was supposed to cut down part of right here. So at about 30, so if we go to 38, that's right there. Okay. I think it was assuming I still had space. Okay. Sorry about that confusion there. I think we figured it out. That's what review does. And now we're going to jump to about 45 on our timeline. And let's see, a little further down. I like the little clap that's going on there on the screen. That's a lot of clapping. Okay. Okay, so I think we're going to cut that down a little bit. So we're going to go to about 45:21. This is why I prefer typing it in. Enter. And we're going to use our razor tool to make that cut selection. And we're going to go ahead and just delete the end of this clip after that high five. I think that's a nice moment. Good ending point. So I think this is, as a whole, this is a good time for our clip. We're ending right around 45 seconds, which is, I would say, around standard for most reels. They end up being between 20 to 40 seconds, depending on what it is. Next is to go in and actually add some transitions to all of those cuts that we made. So how do we add transitions? It's by going to this top left-hand panel, currently displaying project files. We're going to select effects. And from here, we're going to actually select video transitions. So this has drop-down options. And what we're going to do is use a pretty standard option under the dissolve folder. So you can see under dissolve, it's already selected cross dissolve. So we are going to go ahead and click and drag this cross dissolve option onto our transitions. So we're not just going to click and drag it though, because we can see the entirety of our piece and it's a bit hard to get that dissolve exactly where we need it to be. So we want to go between each of those cuts, and we have quite a few cuts here. So we're going to first zoom in until we get to this first dissolve that we're going to have between teardown and puzzle piece dump. So it's our second and third clips on the timeline. So we're going to click and drag until you see it. If you try dragging directly onto something, it's just going to get confused. You want to drag until you see it cover both of those clips. So we have that blue rectangular bar we're going to release. And then we are going to right click on that transition, that gray cross dissolve that has now appeared in our timeline. And we're going to set transition duration. So we're going to knock this down from 1 minute or 1 second to 0.5. It's going to be very quick, but it just moves out that transition from one clip to the next. And we're going to click OK. So what this actually is, though, is it's saying 5 frames. So it's a very quick duration. And we're going to repeat this process on the following cuts. Now, if you're ever struggling with applying this cross dissolve, it's not laying across both video clips for some reason, ensure you have that cross dissolve selected and look at the middle, at the top middle panel in effect controls. So this middle panel here. What could be happening is that the alignment is at center at cut, which could be causing some issues. So see how it has adjusted the effect controls to be specific with the cross dissolve between those two selections. This alignment, it could be set instead of center at cut to start at cut or end at cut. And where you do want it is center at cut. All right, so now that we've kind of gone over that, we're going to do it a few more times so that you get the hang of it. We're going to zoom back out. Ooh, scrolled a little too much. Scroll down to this next clip here. We're going to again drag that cross dissolve down to that frame. We're going to zoom in because that doesn't look quite right. Ah. We're going to select that and see this is set to end at cut. We want it center at cut. Now it's overlapping those two clips. And scroll down again. And we're going to apply it one more time. So click and drag right here. Got that nice blue window. We're going to select that, set transition duration, and we're going to, again, make it that 5 seconds. Shortened it. We did not do that for this one. Oh, very short. Bump that up. Okay. Alrighty. So that should give us a pretty nice reel as far as the video format. So sometimes this does not preview exactly as you click and drag. Maybe you're dragging a little too fast, but you can see what you've done with that video clip as far as having it play out. In general, I would recommend watching your video a few times, make some minute adjustments as needed. But we also want to talk about the fun parts of your short reel, which is adding in things like that caption and background music. So over here in your left-hand panel again, we're going to select that type tool. And with that selected, we're going to click and drag anywhere on the video screen to lay down a text box. So wherever on this video you like, we're just going to click and we're going to type POV, you and your friends buy my new puzzle. So using the selection tool, you can now click and drag this text box around. As you can see, not all the text is showing as it should. So how do we fix that? Well, you can shorten it until you get it to fit on the frame, but that looks really small, right? So we're actually going to click enter, and that's going to get us more of that positioning that we like. Selection tool, adjust. And you can add color to this. You can add fun effects to the text. All of that is in the Essential Graphics panel, which is up here in this middle panel again. So you can adjust the font type. You can adjust the alignment. So if you want this to be aligned center on your video, or if you want it to be at the top or the bottom, there's just a lot of things that you can do here. Now we have, or we did have Myriad Pro selected as our font type. So if you are hovering over it and you happen to use the scroll wheel on your mouse, that will automatically adjust. You don't have to click the drop down. Fun fact, if you find that that's an issue for some reason. If you want to view more text properties, you click that tool symbol, and it can give you just a few other suggestions for formatting. I'm actually okay with how this has formatted. I like the font. I believe for the size, you can again adjust that all here. Play around with it. We're already running a little close on time, so we're gonna just very briefly look at how this goes in our timeline and quickly move on to background music because I do want to export this for y'all. Okay, so in our timeline, this text graphic that we just added to our video, is this pink block at the top. And what we're going to do is actually click the ends of the box and drag it to change the duration of the text on the screen. So right now it's starting at our playhead. So with this red kind of bracket symbol, we're just going to click and drag it to the very start of our video. And we're going to do the same with the end. And you can see it's going to help you auto align this to the end of your clip. So now, no matter where we scroll on our timeline for our video, that text caption is there. So you can add multiple text captions, you can have it move, you can add special effects, the whole thing. But again, today we're keeping it pretty simple. Alrighty. Um, Next, we're going to add that background music. So we're actually going to click this project short reel class to get back to our files. And you can see we've got that sound file right here. We're going to click and drag it below our video to apply it here. And it's a very long sound clip. So using that selection tool, make sure you're not still stuck in text or something. We're actually going to scroll way out, and just like we did that image, we're going to use that red bracket to click and drag it down. So again, just click and have it snap to the same size as your video, and we'll zoom back in. Okay. Again, we muted this earlier. If you forgot to mute, this is just a quick reminder to mute your audio track with your video. We don't need sound with our video. We've got this really nice music track to go along with it. And what we're going to do with that music track selected, the audio portion of Premiere is, you can see that sound quality over here in this bar here at the end. It's got the 0 and then decibels all the way up to 54. That's that dB symbol right there. So if you scroll, you can see that colors appear so that you can see how loud that audio is tracking. So what we're going to do, because all of that sound audio is up here, we're actually going to lower it by 10. So how do we do that? If you right click, you can go to audio gain, and that this menu pops up, and we're going to actually set gain by -10 or adjust, sorry, not set gain. We're going to adjust gain by -10 because if they do have sound on their video, we do not want to just blast them. So now when we scroll through, it's hovering really nicely at that 12, which is less likely to hurt anyone's ears if they happen to be wearing earbuds or something. So with that done, that is our project. And now it's the most important part, to save and export so we can post this to our Instagram page. All right. So file and save to save your project. File and export to export your project. And the step here is to select media. You can also just do Control M. It's going to pop up with another window. So a quick note about saving. Saving saves your project directly to your computer, and exporting is changing your project to a file type that can be read by the platform that you're uploading it to. So just wanted to cover that real quick. So we've got our file name, we've got the location selected. We want to make sure that this format is still set to H.264. And under video, we want to make sure that it is set to match source, because we did select that setting for Instagram. Now we want to scroll down until scroll down to the bottom of the video drop-down menu and select more, which is this 3 dots and icon right here. And under this, we want to make sure that we select the check boxes next to both render at maximum depth and use maximum render quality. Now, render settings help ensure that your export has the clearest video possible. However, it can increase how long it takes for your file to export. So keep that in mind when you're working on projects. If you're short on time, that maybe you schedule another time to render your video to complete the export. But today our clip is short enough that we really don't have to worry about the export time. It shouldn't be impacted greatly. Next, you want to make sure that the range is the entire source. So where can you find that? It's over here under your video preview, range, entire source. Very important because it could be that it's source in or out and only thinking about one specific clip when it's not the entire thing and your entire project. So
Okay,
once you've
so
done that, we're going to select export. Sorry. And
no, you're good.
that is the project. What question do you have or
Perfect. So, someone's asking, where can we get images and sounds to use in our videos, ones that we didn't create?
okay. Um, so images or sounds that you didn't create, you just want to make sure that they are Creative Commons use. If you're downloading them for free, or you can pay for some video and sounds. One site that I'm aware of is called Pixabay. It's a free image repository site, but it also has sounds attached to it as well. You can also find some of them using Google. Again, make sure you select Creative Commons. Some platforms will also have sounds and things built into the platform that you can still add after you upload a video. And as you can see, the encoding took just long enough for me to answer that question. And I do appreciate the questions. Please let me know if you have any more. That is the project. And once you do that, you should be able to go to your file manager on your computer to actually open your completed image, not image, project. I'm going to try and open that MP4 and share that with y'all. So let me switch my screen real quick. And you can see that we've got a completed MP4. Okay. Yeah. So we've got a completed MP4 that we created now. So I really appreciate y'all for sticking with us for this entire class. This is how to create a short reel. So it's about 45 seconds long. It's got music that you may or may not be able to hear. Typically when we run sound through this, unless we have a microphone directly on it, it doesn't play over Zoom. But we do appreciate y'all joining us. I'm going to switch my screen again real quick. Back to our PowerPoint to share some further resources. We have a lot of great LinkedIn Learning videos available, some articles on product demos and information, some books in our collection that you can find. Feel free to pause at this point to note the titles listed here, or if you want to list, we can copy and paste some of it into the chat. And also we want to just make you aware of some of our upcoming programs. So we do have a few business programs and technology programs upcoming this month, this next month of April. So please check those out or go to our website to find out more information or check out a brochure at any of our library locations. So if anyone has any last minute questions, please let us know. Use the chat, use Q&A. Really appreciate y'all taking the time to join us for this class today. Hope this helps. If you've got any questions or you want to see more classes like this, please let us know.
There's a question. It says, so is there an exact time in Premiere Pro?
An exact time. So an exact time of the file? Absolutely, because let's hop back into Premiere Pro. So you can see an exact end time of your entire clip in your timeline. So do, do, do. So if we drag that playhead to the very end, it's about 45:17. So it's 45 seconds and 17 frames at the end. It's not even like it's not even a full second. So it rounds out to about 45 seconds of film. Does that answer the question? So the great thing about creating reels is it can be completely what you need. Um, as you can see, this was 36 minutes of filming, and we were able to condense that to get to this short point within it of just putting together that puzzle super, super quickly. And we did cut portions of it from this recording here in this project. So this
And
could
yeah, it
be,
looks like that did answer the question.
oh, excellent. Thank you very much. Um, this could be cleaning videos. This could be just you talking or sharing something informationally on your Instagram page. Just keep that in mind. Short reels are really for your enjoyment, for your business promotion, whatever you're looking to do with it. So hopefully today you got some basic techniques to learn how to make this a little bit more personal for you to meet your needs. I think we've got time for maybe one more question. If there's someone who's been pondering something and wants to share it. Otherwise, I do think we're at our time for today's class. Otherwise, thank you again so much for joining. I'm going to switch back to those upcoming programs again, unless someone has a question about Premiere. Alrighty. Give you a few more seconds. Thank y'all very, very much. If you do have questions, please know we do have services like Book a Librarian that you can request through our website for any further help with Premiere Pro or any other research project. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.